All right. I think we'll get started. Good afternoon. I'm Ethan Goodman. I'm the president of Profitero Plus, also the president of digital commerce at Publicis Commerce. And I just wanted to welcome everybody to what is now our fourth annual Unboxing Unboxed event, which has really excitingly gotten bigger and better every year since the inaugural one in 2021. And I want to thank everyone for joining. I know that we've got a really nice cross section of Publicis Group attendees, clients, of course, our great partners over at Amazon, and we've got folks that are joining us in person at live watch parties in New York and Chicago, as well as virtually. There was a lot unveiled a few weeks ago in Nashville at Amazon Unboxed, from new ad formats and AI-powered automation to tools that are going to reshape how brands show up on Amazon in 2026. And our goal today, in partnership with our friends from Amazon, is really just to break it all down for all of you who may not have had a chance to be there, or were tracking all of the announcements and activities and thinking, there's a lot here. It's a little overwhelming. So again, we really just want to break it all down for you and share what we heard, why it matters, and what you should do next. So we've got an action-packed agenda. If we want to flip to the next slide here, again, I will. Um, there we go. So we've done the initial welcome. I'm going to share just very briefly a handful of key takeaways from my perspective, having been on the ground in Nashville a couple weeks ago, and then we'll let the experts take over. We'll have the Amazon team unbox, if you will, some of the key announcements and product innovations that were unveiled at the event, and I'm really looking forward to the last segment where we've got a panel of Publicis Group experts from across various agencies representing different functions who are going to share their thoughts about a handful of key questions. So with that, I think again, very quickly, we are going to unbox my thoughts from Unboxed, and I think from my perspective, there were really three key things that stood out. The first was this notion that while, as you'll hear, a lot of the announcements that Amazon made were focused on Amazon ads and kind of full funnel media. I think what really stuck out to me was this notion, both kind of explicitly and in between the lines, that it's not just the demand and traffic driving element of Amazon that is becoming increasingly important, but it's the interplay between traffic and conversion, and this idea that we have a number of tools at our disposal to, from a media perspective, to drive awareness of our brands on the platform. But what's going to be equally as important is ensuring that we're driving that traffic to healthy product detail pages with really compelling content that is ready to convert customers when we need to. And again, I think a number of the announcements that we heard spoke to that conversion driving element just as much as it did, kind of some of the new news from a media perspective. I think the second thing that stood out for me, and we'll hear more about this from the Amazon team as well as from our resident expert Mike Black over at Profitero, just the amount of focus on AI solutions. I think particularly around agentic commerce and in this notion of the increasing prevalence and prominence of AI search. This idea that increasingly we're seeing consumer behavior shift from traditional keyword searches to agentic and conversational AI searches on platforms directly within Amazon, like Rufus, but also maybe more broadly on ChatGPT, and how that's influencing the ways that consumers are finding and discovering and ultimately converting our products. So that was a key hot button. We had a lot of conversations with clients about that topic in particular, and how we can optimize our the presence for our brands and our clients in those conversational engines. And then the last takeaway for me was just, and this is something that I think we're all really proud of on the Publicis side, was just the enhanced presence for Publicis at Amazon Unboxed this year. Everything from the Diamond sponsorship that we invested in, that they gave us a really prominent presence in the exhibition area, with our booth and our meeting space, kind of like right on the main drag there. Also as part of that, the hub bit or the lightning talk and the hub presentation that Mike Black co-led with our client Laura Hyland from BIC. So it was things like that to our inclusion in a video feature during the partner keynote. So Amy Lanzi and Ali Marseille from Digitas were featured in that, talking about the importance of partner relationships and full funnel marketing. We also had a case study inclusion or reference in the keynote as well, specific to our Blue Diamond growers client, yeah, that is being supported by Spark Foundry, and again, just a number of other key inclusions that really highlighted the work that Publicis has done to continue to strengthen its expertise in the Amazon ecosystem, to continue to strengthen its partnership with Amazon and bring all that benefit to bear for our clients. So that was something that we were really proud of. So that's what I've got as far as my three key takeaways. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Elise and the Amazon team to talk a little bit more specifically about some of the key announcements and product innovations that were unveiled a couple of weeks ago.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that lovely intro, Ethan. And we are really excited to be partnering with you all for this webinar. For those who don't know me, my name is Elise Rodriguez, and I am a senior agency development manager at Amazon Ads, joined by my two main product experts who really helped shape this entire presentation are Mike Fruland from our go-to-market sponsored ads team and Galen Sather, who leads our go-to-market ad initiatives. And together, they'll walk you through these innovations and show you how they transform your advertising on Amazon. Okay, so let's dive into what was announced. Amazon unveiled 27 product innovations at unBoxed 2025, all organized around four strategic themes that are reshaping how we think about advertising. Theme one is simplification, so making advertising easy through unified platforms and streamlined workflows. Theme two is AI-driven innovation that Ethan was just talking about, but inventing on behalf of advertisers with intelligent automation. Theme three is measurement, so building solutions for deeper insights and greater impact. And then theme four is performance and full funnel solutions, so solutions optimized for measurable outcomes across that full funnel. So now, while all 27 announcements were exciting, we're going to focus on 8 key innovations, which are highlighted, that we believe will have the most immediate impact on your advertising strategies. These 8 products span all 4 themes and represent the future of Amazon advertising. I'm going to kick things off with theme 1, simplification, and hand it over to Galen, who will walk us through Campaign Manager, which is our new centralized command center for managing all Amazon ad campaigns. So Galen, take it away.
Thanks, Elise, and thanks for having us, Ethan. Today, I want to talk about Campaign Manager. So this was essentially an unboxed reveal. And in the past, we know that advertisers have really struggled with the disjointed nature of our campaign management tools. For anybody who was managing across full funnel activities in the marketing suite, they're constantly having to switch between multiple different accounts, stitch together a lot of different reporting for sponsored ads and DSP. And in total, you're potentially navigating across 90 pages across the console. And the result is that you're missing recommendations and potentially optimization opportunities as well. You're spending a lot of time manually aggregating metrics, and you're creating an overall inefficiency in workflow and how you're managing your advertising spend. So, what we're unveiling here, or what we unveiled, allows you to really manage all of your advertising marketing campaigns from one place. And there are 4 main benefits to this console. The first is that essentially you have one entry point to reach customers and to manage your campaigns on Amazon and across the open internet, and everything is in one unified console. Secondly, you can unleash the power of our LLM-powered natural language smart search to turbocharge your campaign workflow. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the next screen and further down in the presentation. Third, you can see all of your cross-product KPIs and all of Amazon's guidance in one place across the ad products. And then finally, having this unified buying door really acts as a singular location to find the right ads product for your campaign goals from anywhere in the console so you can launch a campaign immediately. Elise, if you want to go to the next page, I'd like to dive deeper and really split down the view so everybody on the line can see it. Um, so this is what the console looks like if you haven't had a chance to see it, and I'm going to talk through a couple of these pieces further in the presentation. But first and foremost, there's a persistent plus button in the upper left-hand corner, so you can create a campaign from anywhere in the console. Now, going across the top of the page, you have a set of product filters that's going to help you filter your experience based on the ad products that you're looking to manage. So using one of these filters is going to dynamically adjust all of the elements on the page. So for example, if you're clicking on sponsored products or on sponsored brands, all of the page elements are going to relate only to those products, to those metrics, etc. So if you're using, a file for video, audio, and display ads, that's going to give you different metrics for all of the expert tools you need to manage your multimedia solutions. And there are going to be 5 different views that we'll talk about kind of as a combination of sponsored products, brands, video, audio, display, etc. Moving a little further to the right on the page, there's a drop down for advertisers. So you're able to select any of the advertisers that are linked to your specific manager account, or even multiple advertisers within the account without really having to switch between accounts. If you move down the page, you're going to see a KPI bar, which gives advertisers key metrics at a glance. So you can view your account performance, and the selection is going to default based on the type of advertiser that you've selected. So with sponsored ads advertisers, you're going to get more conversions focused metrics. And with DSP and full funnel advertisers, you're going to get more brand focused metrics, as well as some of the kind of broad impression and sales based metrics as well. So you can see the overview of the trend for the metric and the click into the view details button, and you can deep dive any of the data that's actually driving those metrics. Next, you're going to see the LLM-powered smart search bar that I mentioned a little bit earlier. And here's where advertisers can really interact in a natural language with the rest of the page. So you can ask questions like, show me campaigns with the highest missed sales, or show me out of budget campaigns, show me campaigns with delivery or pacing issues. And that's going to allow the rest of the page to update based on the filters that are needed to bring back the answers to the prompts that you're asking. So you'll be able to see the history of all of the searches as well as some suggested prompts that we're going to provide for you in advance. Now, further down, you see Proactive Insights Carousel, and there are going to be lots of different cards that we add to this over the next couple of months. We're aggregating all of the recommendations and insights that we have for your selected accounts. So this view includes growth opportunities, conversion paths, AI-powered recommendations for creative opportunities, as well as a charting card where you can actually chart metrics across desired timeframes or expand the chart to be the full width of the page. And we're working with various Amazon teams to make sure that we're really bringing the most relevant insights and recommendations for these card options. And then at the bottom of the page, you're going to see your campaigns, regardless of the media type, in one centralized location. So this is essentially kind of what you've previously been seeing, but you can click very quickly into any of the campaigns. You can filter, you can sort, you can modify date ranges, etc. Much like today's functionality, but with the visibility of seeing all of the campaigns in one view. Now, if we go to the next page, I just want to kind of show that there are all of these different ad product views. Again, this is across the top of the previous bar. So you're going to have all views, which is a comprehensive dashboard that integrates sponsored ads and DSP data and provides the complete advertising overview. And then for sponsored products users, you're going to get a dedicated view that's focusing exclusively on sponsored performance metrics with specialized KPI bars and guidance cards offering sponsored product specific optimization recommendations. And similarly, the sponsored brands view is going to provide dedicated sponsored brands campaign insights with tailored metrics and recommendations. And then you can combine the sponsored products and sponsored brand views, which will unify sponsored ads data for advertisers that are utilizing both sponsored products and sponsored brands. And that presents blended KPI and guidance cards across both of those campaign types. And then the video, audio, and display section is going to encompass both smart mode, which is display and streaming TV, and expert mode, which is multimedia solutions, previously what we were calling Amazon DSP. And that displays performance metrics based on advertising products. Now, there's this question about what is smart versus expert. And essentially, following the 2025 announcement, Amazon introduced the unified creation. We changed some of our contact cards, and the Smart tab is essentially what former sponsored display and sponsored TV options were. So the Smart tab offers streamlined self-service optimization designed for advertisers that are prioritizing efficiency and automation. So this provides a comprehensive inventory access while maintaining user control over campaign management. And then the Expert tab, again, previously Amazon DSP, preserves the advanced controls that were previously available in DSP and really caters to agencies and advertisers that are managing more complex accounts that require detailed customization. So this tab maintains full inventory access while providing professional grade tools for sophisticated campaign management. And both configurations offer access to the advanced controls previously available in DSP, and we're just catering it a little bit better to fit on the page better. So we're going to take a look on the next slide at what the current experience looks like in Smart versus Expert. So previously, this page was sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display, and sponsored TV. Now it's sponsored products, sponsored brands on the left, and we're going to have the Smart mode, which again is previously sponsored display, sponsored TV. And then the next slide is the Expert mode, which is all of our video, audio, and display ads with a little bit more of that control that we were talking about for the Amazon DSP. That's all I have on Campaign Manager, but I'd love to dive into some of our AI innovations. First and foremost, the reason that we're really leaning into AI is because our marketers are facing significant challenges in today's landscape. We're seeing resource constraints, creative barriers, addressability issues, and the need for full funnel marketing. And there are a lot of concerns around trust and control. So our AI solutions are really designed to address these challenges head on and to help you navigate these economic uncertainties while driving growth and brand awareness. So there are four kind of main components to Ads Agent. If you want to pop over to the next slide. Ads Agent is our overall agentic control in the DSP. So we're going to be adding more Ads Agent components, more Ads Agent skills as time goes on. But what we've recently launched at unBoxed, and we'll talk a little bit more about these, are the ability to create campaigns from a media plan. Anybody who's hands on keyboards is probably cheering at this one. We can optimize campaigns at scale without just using bulk sheets, another big win. We have campaign targeting, and we all know that, campaign targeting can be up to 80% of the reason a campaign is or is not going to really perform well. And then we can accelerate AMC insights using our natural language to write our SQL code. So right now we have open betas for each of these components that are live on the console. So first, jumping into Ads Agent as a whole, Ads Agent is really our streamlining component, our backbone to Ads agents across the console as a whole. So everything that we're doing here is to make sure that we're streamlining our overall optimization ability, campaign targeting, and really saving our marketers time. What we're seeing is just across the board, 43% of CMOs are basically saying that rising costs and budget constraints are major pressing challenges, and there are a lot of creative barriers and audiences and measurement and other processes that can be improved through ads agents. So the first major ads agent is the ability to create a campaign from a media plan. If we can go to the next slide. This does not require, uh, can we jump to, oh, that perfect. Sorry, I was on the wrong slide apparently. Um, this does not require uh, a template on our side. So this can be any IO that already exists. You upload it into the agent. You have a conversation with the agent. It's going to pull out some of the key components, such as budget, dates, overall KPIs and goals, and it will put together a media plan for you and a campaign recommendation. You don't have to upload the plan again. You literally just talk to the agent and tell it, what you want to change if it got something wrong. And then once you approve it, it's going to build out the campaign for you. So it's going to save you hours in trying to set up individual lines, trying to set up, different supply. It's going to get your whole campaign set from the kind of outline component for you. So we've seen that this can save, between an hour and more, depending on the complexity of the campaign that you're setting up in the first place. A second big one that we're working on is the ability to um, I think we might have duplicated one of the slides for creating a campaign from a media plan, but the second one that we actually have is the ability to have a multi-action trader agent. And we'll make sure that we update this when we send the content out to you. But the multi-trader action agent is the ability to um, actually engage with running campaigns. So you can type in, please show me all of the campaigns that are out of budget, or please show me all of the campaigns that, have a return on ad spend that is lower than a certain amount. And then you can take some bulk actions, up to 50 different actions using the agent. So we do have a list of what actions are available and what filters are available versus what isn't available. So for example, you can't do bulk targeting updates, but you can do bulk budget updates. And that's literally just using your natural language to take all of the sets of campaigns that you're trying to find information about and take an action on them. So also very exciting, makes it a lot easier for you to save a lot of time, not having to do individual changes, saves you from some bulk sheets work that you may have previously had to use as well. The next one we have is the campaign targeting. So while I said we can't necessarily do bulk updates for campaign targeting in mass, we are saving a lot of time right now by being able to use your natural language to tell the system what type of targeting you'd like to look at. So you can say, for example, I'm looking for women who are interested in trainers and athletic or athleisure clothing. And it's going to give you a list of recommended audiences based on, what you're asking for. Now you can either use one click to add all of those audiences, or you can adjust them or deselect them, or again, have another conversation with the agent to tell it how exactly you'd like to adjust those recommendations. So again, saving just a huge amount of time while you're trying to set up, more complex targeting. And we've seen overall 18% lower CPMs and 16% lower CPAs for anybody who's using these agents. And again, all of these are currently in open beta. And then the last one I want to talk through is accelerating AMC insights. So we do say that at this point you probably still want to have at least a basic understanding of SQL, but you can use the agent or some of the prompts that we're providing to create your SQL code. So you can, discuss types of audiences that you're trying to reach, and if it's an audience that has a lot of PII involved, of course we're not going to give you exactly who that audience is, but we can create that audience and load it into your account. And then one of the recommendations for still needing to understand SQL are, because we do have lots of different tables available. So you might have some attributed tables versus unattributed tables, and you just want to be able to scan through the code and make sure that you have the right tables. In the future, we are looking at other non-code solutions where we'll be able to integrate AMC insights into a similar agent where you wouldn't need as much of a coding background. So, keep an eye out for those. Um, but right now, this is a great solution to really, especially if you are pretty savvy with AMC, you already know what types of queries you're trying to pull. You can write them pretty quickly using this tool. Like I said, all of these are currently in open beta, and I'm happy to give more information if you guys need it. In the meantime, I think I'm going to hand it off to Mike to talk through some sponsored products components.
Awesome. Thank you. Um, and so we'll start with the agentic side, the AI side of sponsored ads, and we'll talk about sponsored products and sponsored brand prompts. And so I'm sure a lot of you saw this announcement at unBoxed, but this is basically the newest edition of sponsored ads in Rufus. And it's currently in open beta in the US, and these only show on mobile devices right now. And so the clicks are free during this beta, during this experiment. If and when this product goes GA, we'll make sure that we will let you know. But right now, this is just an open beta, an experiment. And so prompts uses existing campaigns to create interactive touch points, prompts that surface relevant information where the shoppers are looking for it. And so basically what this means is it is important because it's taking your existing sponsored products and sponsored brand campaigns and turning them into AI-powered conversations that can help the shopper more efficiently discover your brand and your products before they're even doing a search. We can go to the next slide. And so you can really think about it as an AI-powered extension to what you're already doing. There's a couple things that to know and a couple things to take into consideration. And so these responses and these prompts are being generated and drawing from your detail pages, your brand stores, your reviews, and campaign signals that you're choosing in your ad console to ensure brand safety. And so it allows you to engage with shoppers before they're asking the questions, before they're going to the search bar, and ideally providing a seamless shopping experience. One of the other great things is you'll be able to see how these prompts are performing, similar to how you would look at a search term report. And with that, we can actually look at an example on the next slide of what the reporting looks like. And so when you log into your ad console, this is what you're going to see. And so this is up for sponsored products right now. Sponsored brands is coming in the next month or so. But you can see the prompt that's generated. You can also see an example of the response when you hover over. And for now, it's just going to show things like clicks, impressions, conversions, because there's no cost associated with this. But once it becomes a GA product, you will see that. One thing to note is that the volume is likely going to be pretty low, especially during this open beta period. Once this GAs, if this GAs, you will see that traffic start to ramp up. But for now, I would expect light traffic. We can go to the next slide. And so a couple things that you guys need to know, and these are really the questions that we get the most about sponsored prompts and ads in Rufus in general. So the first question is, how do we opt in? How do we test this? How do we get a part of this beta? How to become a part of this beta? And the answer is, you don't need to do anything. So you're already opted into this open beta. If you're advertising in the US and your ads are showing on mobile, you are eligible to show here. So no extra effort needed there. The next question that we get is, how do we influence what Rufus populates, what the prompts and the responses are? And so you can help power your AI, the virtual product expert, really just by making sure that you're regularly updating your detail pages, brand store content, descriptions, and campaign settings. All of this is where Rufus is pulling its information from. So if your PDPs are up to date, your brand store is up to date, you should be good from a comm standpoint. And then the last question is always around reporting. And so again, we want to make sure that you're looking at your prompts data early and often. From a sponsored product and eventually sponsored brand standpoint, it's going to be just like search term reports. You're going to be able to go in, you're going to see performance. You're going to have the option to turn prompts off if you don't like them, or if there are certain prompts that work better. But just, I think there's an opportunity to look at these understand what your shoppers are engaging with, and potentially influencing your creative strategy and your messaging strategy down the road from some of these prompts. One other call out that I'll say is prompts is actually not the first integration of ads and Rufus. And so late 2024, we actually launched brand recommendations and product recommendations. These are associated with your sponsored brands and sponsored product campaigns. But this is essentially, these are ads that populate when someone's in the Rufus interface, asking questions, interacting with the agent. These sponsored ads will populate. The important part, or the new thing about prompts, is that it's actually bringing some of these opportunities for sponsored placements and interactions outside of that Rufus experience. So this is directly into the shopper workflow, seamlessly integrating in their journey and their discovery. So that's the reason why prompts is so important. And so we'll shift gears a little bit and go into the performance updates. And so there's a few that we want to talk about. There are a lot of updates, but the biggest one, what we think is the most important for everyone in the room today, is probably the updates to Performance Plus campaigns. And so the Performance Plus targeting options that were introduced, we're talking about a new consideration tactic for high intent shoppers via the detail page. We're also talking about an integrative creative association that really streamlines your campaign creation workflow. And finally, some advanced insight cards that are going to provide more transparent shopper behavior analytics. And so these are all pretty self-explanatory in terms of why it's important to you, but the first is it's the first time consideration stage targeting based off of detail page views is actually available. So that's a huge improvement. The simplified campaign setup process is important just from a scaling and effort standpoint. And then we're also going to be giving the new time to conversion metrics and behavioral traits analysis that we weren't really surfacing that effectively before. So all of these, I think, are big improvements on the Performance Plus functionality. And then one other big change for Performance Plus is actually the ability to is the introduction of search remarketing for Performance Plus campaigns. And so this includes new AI-powered tactics, and basically is meant to connect search and display strategies and really help secure the bottom of your funnel. Important, obviously, because it enables you as an advertiser to really easily re-engage high-intent shoppers. And these shoppers are around 25% more likely to purchase when they're served a remarketing ad within 24 hours of that first search. So extremely powerful advertising cohort that you now have access to. Another big launch on the sponsored ad side is sponsored product video. And so this is a brand new video ad format. It's not the same as sponsored brand video. And this basically showcases multiple product features for a single ASIN. And moving forward, I think that we can start to think about sponsored brands as a way to highlight the brand or multiple ASINs. And sponsored products is going to be very singularly ASIN oriented, as it has been. But this is important because it enhances product discovery through an interactive viewing experience. It's particularly useful for complex or feature-heavy products. And again, if you want to launch a net new campaign for this, you absolutely can, but it also is something that you can leverage on your existing SP campaign. So no need to create a net new campaign if you already have a high-performing campaign. The last performance product update I want to run through quickly is the sponsored brand reserve share of voice functionality. This essentially allows you to secure or reserve sponsored brand top of search placements for your branded keywords at a fixed upfront price. This is particularly useful when you need to win on your branded terms and you need to have maximum control over your share of voice. A few things to call out while you're setting these up. You can only target your branded terms. And even then, there are some limitations in terms of what you can add to your branded term to reserve. And they're all exact match terms. These run for a minimum of 30 days up to 3 months or any time in between. The pricing is going to be dynamic based off of historical traffic. So if you set up a campaign 1 month and then you set up the same exact campaign for the next month, the price is going to be different based off of estimated traffic. And so the best way to get a sense of how much it's going to cost to leverage the sponsor brand reserve share of voice is actually just to go in the campaign, select your keywords, select your runtime, and it will populate a cost to do this. And then the last thing, excuse me, the last thing I want to call out is there is a 3-day buffer or required lead from when you create a campaign to when you can launch a campaign. And then once that campaign, I believe, is 12 hours out from launch, you can no longer cancel that campaign. So there's just some lead time information that you need to know. And then the next slide, just really quickly, we ran a beta for this earlier in the year. And what we ended up seeing was that from the pretty wide ranging group of advertisers, but on average across the board, they had around 60% top of search impression share. Using this targeting methodology, this reserve share of voice, they were able to increase that to almost 100%, 99.3%. The results of having that sort of top of search impression share was that their branded lost sales metrics, so a competitor coming in and conquesting against their terms, dropped from around 10% to almost 0%, so 0.3%. And ultimately what that means was an increase, or what that meant was an increase in click attributed sales by 143%. So more than doubling their ad attributed clicks by reducing that gap of top of search, or increasing their top of search impression share from 60 to almost 100%. And then finally, we will run through some measurement updates. So as you saw on the earlier slide, there's a lot of measurement updates. I recommend taking a look at all of them, but the biggest one, the one that we think impacts everyone on this call the most, is actually the ad traffic look back. And so this is one of the most common requests we get from advertisers. Basically, why can we only look back a year or 13 months? And so finally, this was updated. Now you can look back up to 25 months worth of data via AMC. And so if you haven't worked in AMC before, you don't have much experience there. One of the other announcements at unBoxed is that it's much more integrated with ad console. So it's really easy to access. It's really easy to move around. But this ad traffic look back is particularly important. We can jump to the next slide. We think this is a particularly important update. One, the 25-month look back window allows for really better holistic view of performance patterns and year-over-year changes, something that you weren't able to do effectively or easily before. You can also use a more comprehensive historical data set to really strengthen your strategies, make sure you're on solid ground when you're making these recommendations for your advertisers. And ultimately, that helps you make better data-driven recommendations and better data-driven decisions. That's a tough one to say. By measuring and comparing performance across an extended period of time. We know that life cycle of these products is not always within a 12 or 13-month period, so the ability to look back further is, we think, going to be really helpful. And so with that, I really appreciate the time. I'm going to hand it back to Elise to kick it over to our Publicis panel.
Also, Mike, I don't know if you saw, but you got a couple hearts talking about that look back as a reaction. So
I'm not surprised. It's very exciting for all of us.
Yes, exactly. Well, amazing. Thank you so much to Mike and Galen again for taking us through everything. So we've explored 8 powerful innovations across Amazon's 4 strategic themes. Now, these aren't just product features. They represent a fundamental shift on how advertising works. The complexity is being stripped away. AI is doing the heavy lifting, and the measurement is becoming more sophisticated than ever. And who better to help us understand what this all means in practice than the experts who are implementing these solutions every day and thinking about what's next. So I'm excited to introduce our Publicis panel for leaders who are at the forefront of media innovation. We have Carolyn Ballard, VP of Commerce Media at Profitero Plus, Mike Black, CGO at Profitero Plus, Jared Scott, VP of Commerce at Spark, and then Ty Beetler, SVP of E-commerce at Mars United. So these 4 themes we discussed today: simplification, AI-driven innovation, performance, and measurement, aren't just Amazon's priorities. They're addressing the biggest challenges marketers face right now: resource constraints, creative barriers, audience targeting, inefficiencies, and measurement complexity. So our panelists are going to share their perspectives on a critical question, and that is, looking ahead to 2026, AI and automation are fundamentally changing how advertising works, from campaign creation to measurement. AMC is becoming table stakes, and clients expect more sophisticated insights with less manual effort. What's Publicis' point of view on where the industry is headed? And more importantly, what are you building or investing in now that will give your clients a competitive advantage as these technologies mature? How are you staying not just current, but ahead? And now I want to start with Carolyn, because I think there's something really interesting happening here. A lot of brands are leveraging AMC, but they're working within its confines. But what about digital shelf media? How do you connect AMC insights with digital shelf competitive signals? Carolyn, I know you've been working on some innovations with Publicis and Amazon, so I'd love to hear your perspective first on this. And before you start, everyone feel free to give a little intro on what you do at Publicis, but when you respond. But yeah, Carolyn, take it away.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Carolyn Ballard, so I lead our retail media products at Profitero Plus. So this question very much resonates with me. In the same way that AMC has become table stakes, I would also say that the era of treating media and digital shelf as separate silos is also over. In the sense that like brands can't afford to buy visibility if their product is not available for a shopper to purchase. So, winning now, winning in the future is not really going to be about who has the biggest budget. It's more about who has the fastest connection between their supply chain and their media buying. And so through these technologies, we're able to connect those dots and help brands get there faster. This is exactly why we built Shelf Intelligent Media at Profitero years ago for Amazon Search and Amazon DSP. That means that we can use digital shelf signals like stock levels, price changes, or your relative price in the category, even things like buy box status. And all of those work alongside Publicis Warehouse, which is our solution that integrates Amazon Ads and Amazon DSP with AMC. So with all that, I think we've really moved well beyond the concept of basic measurement to thinking about planning automated actions and measurement holistically. So for example, if a competitor raises their price, our automated bidding strategy would shift to capture that potential market share. So we're not just reporting on it or finding out about it, weeks later. We're using our solutions to help make it happen the moment that opportunity finds itself. We're really thinking about AMC not just as an audience creation or a measurement tool, but as both, right? It's a holistic strategy engine. So by looking at Amazon, at AMC, and feeding in Profitero data, like I mentioned with price or ratings and reviews or content along your first-party data, we can answer and immediately action on things like, why did the conversion rate drop? Was it because the ad was irrelevant, or was it because a competitor dropped their price that morning? Maybe we're over-investing in certain areas based on content scores that we could actually address immediately, or shift our budget while those PDPs are being updated. So by doing all of this is where our vision is really focused on thinking about our audiences to build profitability. So how are we targeting users when we know that the shelf conditions are at the perfect moment for a conversion? And that's really how we're able to define what's leading the marketplace today, and then how we continue to stay ahead. So, long behind us are the days of optimizing media just for ROAS. We're really focusing on engineering a profitable growth engine, and then also very much focused on lifetime value for brands and their customers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. I'm going to kick it off to you.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm Mike Black. My role at Profitero is to make sure that our product is moving towards the future. I think there's no surprise that the future is all about AI-assisted shopping. I think that's why I was super excited to see a lot of what Amazon's working on with prompts, because prompts are the new keywords. Orange is the new black. Prompts are the new keywords. So why am I so bullish about this? Well, I think there's 3 proof points why I think AI-assisted shopping is really the future. One is, consumers are adopting the behavior. A couple months ago, FeedVisor released a report and said that about 20% of the top search terms in Amazon search reporting are now question-based or query-based. So we're seeing consumers start to get used to asking questions and asking and having conversations, right, with Amazon. The second is Amazon itself, pretty bullish. Back in November earnings, I think Andy Jassy said they expect Rufus to generate $10 billion in incremental revenue sales. So obviously, the industry feels pretty strong about that. And then in my own personal experience, I don't know about you, I use Rufus a lot during the Cyber 5. My daughter just came down with celiac. We're looking for bread machines. How would I normally navigate a really complex set of features to understand which bread machines are best for making, gluten-free bread? So just the removing of that friction has been huge. Not to mention that Rufus also has a cool price history lookup, which is awesome if you want to see if you're getting great trends. So all these things are going to drive consumers. It's early innings in terms of adoption, but you can just see exponential growth. So what does that mean? Well, it means for brands, you can't just win with search and think that job is done, right? In fact, we recently did some research and we found that only 22% of products showing up on page 1 of search on Amazon are being recommended by Rufus. So think about that, right? We have a bifurcated journey here. We have different ways of winning in different parts of the experience. So as brand owners, we have to think about winning both, right? We can't forget about traditional media and SEO tactics, but we also have to think about what we can do to influence our recommendations as products that are trusted and recommended by Rufus. So some of the things that we're doing at Profitero is we are evolving our digital shelf tools to start to measure AI visibility, being able to show you what your share of prompts are, the way you look at share of search, but more than that, actually recommend actions, whether that is optimizing your back-end attributes or your front-facing copy to have more of that consumer-friendly language. We want to build an operational engine that really goes from insight to action. And I think most important, as you think about where this is headed, this is just the digital shelf's next evolution. We can't be thinking about visibility without thinking about pricing and availability and the traditional digital shelf metrics, because if we don't get that right, we won't have a right to be visible. So that's my quick perspective on where we're headed in the future.
Thank you. I thought it was really interesting for the point that you bring up about how consumers are now asking questions and every search is question based, because I can definitely notice that for myself personally as a consumer. So thank you for calling that out. And then we'll kick it off to Jared.
Awesome. Thanks. Well, I'm Jared. I'm one of the VPs on the Spark team, leading a couple different accounts on Amazon and other retailers and just our retail media strategy. And I think kind of building on what Carolyn and Mike have been talking about is like, I think at this point, our goal is always how do we help our clients grow and leverage media as a catalyst to grow the entire business. The goal is incremental growth on your Amazon business. And kind of joining into some of the things that Mike and Carol are saying is like, we're looking at this data and all of these new tools and tech and the way that people are searching and buying on Amazon, it's moving rapidly. So I think where we're investing our efforts the most is how do we make sure that we take that data and put it in the best places possible, and also leverage AI to give us the best recommendations possible to invest in media, tie that with promotions, tie that with product optimizations, and make sure that we're incrementally growing and putting dollars in media and investing those dollars where they have incremental lift. I do think AMC still is the table stakes, but the questions you ask and that you answer with AMC are not table stakes yet. I think we are still in the formative years of understanding what are the right questions asked to grow. And that's where we're investing a lot of our time and a lot of our resources to build out those roadmaps, those action plans and tools and tech to be able to incrementally grow the business and not just add attributed revenue, which AMC really unlocks for us. So I think that's what's helping give our clients a competitive advantage. We're not looking, and I think Carolyn said this, we're not looking at this as a ROAS anymore. We're looking at lifetime value. We're looking at customer acquisition costs. We're looking at how are we incrementally growing the business. Is that more subscription? Is that more traffic? What is it? We're growing it. So I think that's the key, and more data, more problems to solve, right? And so like I think that's what we want to make sure we're putting together.
Jared, I don't know if you saw, we got some hand claps because you're preaching
Yeah.
to the choir. I feel like it's some shout
Yeah.
out. Thank you so much for your insight. I really appreciate it. Ty, you're next.
Hello, I'm Tyrell, and I lead the e-commerce team at Mars. And I'm somebody who's a little bit adjacent to what I would say is the paid media. So I focus on catalog, digital shelf content, and organic growth strategies that lead into the paid media strategies. So a little bit further afield than just pure media. And I think that makes sense because I want to talk to you about Amazon. Because when you say Amazon, it can mean a ton of different things to different people. And I think there is a lot of opportunity here to really think about what Amazon is beyond just the space that we're talking about. Because it could mean the retail teams in Seattle, it could mean AWS, it could mean the advertising team in New York, but it could also mean the transportation team that is out of Nashville. It could mean video or music executives that are based out of Hollywood. Amazon just announced LEO, LEO, which stands for Low Earth Orbit Satellites that are competing with Starlink. And the reason I mention that is if you Google Amazon DSP, you get results for Amazon Delivery Service Partners. Those are the folks who are delivering the packages to your door. And when we say DSP, we immediately gravitate towards one thing. And I think it just kind of emphasizes that Amazon's a really big company and it touches a lot of different things. And they're going further than ever before by allowing creative advertising and agents that are going to be building that advertising for you that are going to go off Amazon. That means more data signals, more audiences, and more potential insights. But that also means a move towards measurement and predictive analytics to effectively use that information. All well and good. That means more self-service tools than ever, which are great, but it will require learning and understanding more systems, more prompts, more SQL, and learning about parts of Amazon that aren't just advertising and audience building. What are we going to do with information about individual users who are using Amazon Leo to get their Wi-Fi signals? Does that mean they live on top of a mountain and want to buy shovels? What does that information mean? It will require a lot of AI tools, it will require agents to enable users to focus on delivering that effective growth. It is what Jared just mentioned. It's about incrementality. How are we going to use these new audiences? What are we going to do with this information? It's one thing to have more data signals. It's another thing to turn it into something actionable. Publicis is well positioned to deliver the expertise, the strategy, the people, the tools, and the tech to enable the application of that strategy. Because it's not just about having access to all of these tools, it's about being able to put it all together in a way that results in something that's actionable. You're going to need to have partners inside of Publicis who are familiar with this different parts of Amazon, different parts of the industry, and being able to keep up with the changes that are driving organic growth, paid growth. Mike at the beginning mentioned sort of updating PDP content as a brand and brand stores as a key input to Rufus. That's what we're connecting. PDP can mean warranties. PDP can mean user manuals. It can mean very deep and detailed parts of the PDP that are more than just feature bullets and content. And that's what I think we're really driving towards, is working on connecting all of those dots so that you update your catalog content that then flows to your PDP, that then flows to Rufus, that then can be used in targeting, excuse me, used in targeting and building new audiences that can be used to, drive all of the things that we're talking about. So for me, I just think about Amazon as a whole as being this really large ecosystem and building solutions that can take all of that data and turn it into something actionable. That's what I think about. That's what I think came away from unBoxed thinking on.
Well, thank you so much. Are there any other closing remarks that you guys would like to say, or I'm more than happy to help pull this out for everyone.
One last note from what Ty was saying too, I think it's a good build is like, it's all interconnected together. Like if we pull one lever, like Ty, what you're saying with PDP, like that's warranties, that's SEO or GEO ranking. It's also ad performance too. It impacts our click-through rates, conversion rates on advertising. So I think just a build, it's like it's all interconnected. So any lever we pull, now that we have all this rich data and access to it and ways we're able to manipulate it, now it's having a clear understanding to what Ty said of making it actionable, and pulling the right levers to drive user growth in the right areas that we want to grow the business. So if I'd add that thing in, Ty, to that, I think it's also influences media and how we perform completely if we change anything.
Yeah, that's great. I think what I would just wrap with is one thought, and then there is an open question, by the way, about whether we're going to make the deck available, and I embarrassingly don't know the answer to that question. So maybe Deb, Bert, at least you guys
100%.
could chime in there.
Yes,
So we will
the
know.
deck will be shared.
And I think that the parting shot that I would have is I hope whether you are somebody that works at Publicis Group or you're a client or a prospective client, I hope that the key thing that you take away is this notion that as Publicis Group, we've got an incredibly strong partnership with Amazon, not just the ads team, but kind of across the ecosystem. We've got really deep expertise across all facets of the ecosystem. So Ty talked catalog and content in addition to low Earth orbit satellites and so on and so forth. Between catalog, content, Rufus and Gen AI search, obviously all of the media capability that we covered. And if you're questioning, whether the capability exists in group to help you answer some of these really sticky challenges with with Amazon, the answer is definitively yes. And we've got a number of resources, represented by the people on the panel and elsewhere that they can help point you to the right solutions. Again, to help our clients navigate their Amazon activities and their presence across the Amazon ecosystem. So I hope that in addition to all of the amazing learning about the new announcements and capabilities that Amazon unveiled at unBoxed, I hope that kind of overarchingly your takeaway is at Group we've got all of the capabilities to help clients maximize their business on Amazon, and please reach out if you have questions or if you have needs. That's all I got, Elise.
Amazing. Well, thank you everyone for coming. I feel like the products we covered aren't just announcements. They truly are tools that you guys have already been integrating into your workflows and to deliver measurable value for you and your clients. So I really hope everyone today, was inspired and can have some sort of practical insights so that you can take back to your team. So again, we really appreciate it. I love the reactions of everything, and I hope you all have an amazing day. Thank you again.